Okay, I got one. There's obviously currently somebody in this office right now, a Democrat, Doug Stoner. What would be your biggest policy difference with him, or your biggest policy beef with him something you'd do differently?
Or no, it's not. I'm sorry, I didn't have to.
I think that one would be easy, Justin, because he opposed the amendment for charter schools, and he's a Democrat. And the funny thing about that is Democrats are always trying to act like they care for smaller people, low-income people. Well, that's who I care about, and that's why I was for the charter school amendment, because it helps those that don't have great access to education. It infuses free market principles into the education system, which allows competition to create, it lifts all boats. And so there's a natural competition there with the socialized K through 12 public school system. I would really differentiate myself hard with Doug on that. And frankly, I want to bring in fresh ideas. I mean, Doug Stoner's been down there 10 years, and I think that I contrast well with him just being a bit of an outsider and not being involved in the inside game of political politics, because I bring fresh ideas. And so, Doug's a nice guy. He's been ineffective as a state senator in pushing any policies for us. So I think his opposition to the charter school amendment was quite befuddling. I thought he could have stood out in that regard, but for some reason he chose not to, so I would hit him hard on that.
I think I too, and during the charter school debate, I was encouraging people to call Senator Stoner and ask him to support it. The reason that I support charter schools as an option goes back to my experience teaching high school. The nice thing about charter schools is that it cuts you out of so many of the state regulations and state laws and lets you decide how you're going to govern your school for yourself. That was the experience I had teaching down the street at Pace, where my focus was always, what's best in the classroom? What's best for teaching that child? I didn't have to worry about, do I need to check this box, or what did the state regs say on how I'm supposed to teach this class or that class? And I want to replicate that. And, based on my experience as a teacher, based on my time in government, I can, go toe-to-toe on Doug on just about any of the issues he wants to talk about. Candidly, I mean, he, being in the minority, you're not in the green door when the budget gets ultimately decided. You can't sign on to legislation because it won't pass. In 2011, he introduced no bills. In 2012, he introduced 4 or 5, but they didn't go anywhere. So, I think being effective, knowing the state issues, and then the charter school is a big one, and being able to talk about it on the level of having lived through, teaching would be a great way to do it.
Again, the charter school that his direction there was just uncalled for. Here's the deal, though. We cannot underestimate Doug Stoner. Doug Stoner is a survivor. And let me tell you, there's areas in Smyrna that there's little ladies that love Doug Stoner. So I know that we're all Republicans in this room, but we can't count our chickens before we hatch. We understand that this has been changed up. The district has been newly formed, but look, Doug's a career politician, in my opinion, and that's all I can say.
Well, before we wrap this up, before I give each candidate about 2 minutes just to